Okay, welcome everybody to week 4, day 1. Today we're going to be talking about operators, like full-time. Like we talked about it a little bit, we kind of teased a little bit, we did a little bit with STF2 with the notion that you just kind of copy and paste and modify, which is one of the essential skills of computer science is copy, paste, and modify. But today we are going to go hardcore on the operator front. And we are actually going to give you a lot of lab time today. I actually ended up doing 40 minutes of lab time with the in-person, and that still was not enough. Fielded a lot of questions. And so if you guys online don't ask questions, then I'll know that you're not doing the lab. So what I'm going to ask is about half an hour in, I'm going to ask you to share what you got, and then we can talk about it. Okay, so the premise of today is sometimes you'll want to make like your own, like maybe integer class, like integer x equals 40 and y equals 50, and you want to be able to, I don't know, like do something like this. And the trouble is that you can't add two class integer. You can't add two of these things together. The thing is, we can't add two of these things together because we don't know how to add them. Right, so we made this like integer class. It's just like an integer, but it's our own class, and I'll show you a reason why we're going to do this in a second. But do you guys see this? Like we can't add two of our integers because C++ doesn't know what addition means in the context of whatever classes we have. I mean, it could guess and just like add all the member variables together, but that's going to be very weird if you have like a rectangle or a sphere. You know, like you add the two x and y coordinates together and the radiuses get added together and like nothing makes sense, right? So there are no compiler generated plus operators, minus operators, things like that. So every time you have a function like this, it's going to call a function named operator plus. So if you have a plus operator, it actually calls a function called operator plus. Okay, and it's going to look like this. There's actually 3 different ways you can do this. Let me show you them all in turn. Option 1. Are you guys here? Is there like nobody saying anything on chat? Okay. All right. So option 1 is you do a global function. I killed Mincarelli in class today by saying, "Hey, do you guys know what's the favorite kind of function a turkey makes?" Global. He died. It was great. We can just call this like a regular global function. So a global function is one that is one that's just in free space. It's not part of the class. It's not part of the function. It's just out there in global space. And so what we can do is we can say when we add two of these integers together, it's going to return an integer. We're going to call it operator plus. And it takes into const integer by reference LHS and const integer by reference RHS. And it's just going to return LHS.get val plus RHS.get val. So what do you think LHS and RHS stand for? And which one of these is the LHS? Which one of these is the RHS? X or Y? For each one. So we have left-hand side and right-hand side. Very good, Megan. So the X is LHS. Good. So anytime you have a binary operator takes 2 parameters. plus, minus, multiply, right? It takes two parameters. And by convention, we call the thing on the left side of the plus LHS, and the thing on the right RHS. You don't have to. You can call them whatever you want, but I don't know. It's sort of the default for me. Okay? And so if we're doing this way, we have access to like the private member variables? Like could we say this? Could we just get LHS's dot val? And why not? I think you can see it's not working. So why can we not grab, oh, there's the answer right there. It's private, right? And so anytime you have a private, you gotta use a getter, okay? Now, for this reason, sometimes you don't want to do this. You want to make it a friend function instead. So I'm going to comment out this option here. And the other thing, which I showed you guys last time, is if you make it a friend function, you can actually friend, there we go. Option 2, this is actually still a global function, but it's a friend global friend global, I don't know. Friend global is global, but you can put inside the class. It's nice. And then this is a global. Every time I said that, like, Min Crowley just started just laughing uncontrollably in the 12 o'clock class. Global. I don't know. Dad jokes are funny sometimes. What can I tell you? All right. So, friend global, this is the exact same code, right? But there's one difference here, which is that because it's a friend, it has access to the private members like this, and you can just do that instead. Can you think of friend as like an access token for the private members? Yeah. When you declare a function friend, you're granting that thing permission to access the private member variables. And you could do it like this if you wanted to. You can you forward declare it like that, and then you could do val here if you want. That works fine. See, so you don't actually have to put the friend global function inside of the class. You could actually put it outside like this. I don't usually because I don't know. It just kind of makes more sense for me to do it this way. And there we go. Okay. It's up to you. I mean, it's really up to you. This is generally speaking how I do it. So when this code gets called here, it's going to call a function literally named operator plus. The left-hand side gets passed in for the LHS. The right-hand side gets passed in here, y. And then it adds their values together and returns the result. Okay. I can compile this. Maybe, I don't know if I broke it or something. There we go, 98 is. Option 3. And one of the things about operators is that students constantly get these 3 options confused. So my advice is to stick with I don't know, 1. Do I do it? No. I don't know. Well, let me show you the third option first. Okay, so option 3, member function. Int operator plus. Take in const integer by reference right hand side. Const, because it's a member function now, so I have to say the const here means the left hand side is const. Okay. Notice there is no left hand side on this. It's because it's a member function. It's like we were calling x dot operator plus passing in y. Do you guys understand what's going on here? It's like it's calling a member function on x called operator plus, and it passes in the right-hand side. The left-hand side doesn't need to be specified because it's implicit. When you have a member function, you can just say val. So you'd say return val plus RHS.val. And this does exactly the same thing as this, which does exactly the same thing as this. What's going on, Bedford? So which one do I prefer? I don't really have any strong opinions on it. Some people prefer the global function because it's more symmetrical, right? You got LHS.val, RHS.val. Some people like typing less, and so they like this version because it's less typing. This version here has the most typing, but some people think that's more proper because you're going through accessors and stuff. Are there scenarios when you'd use different ones, or is it only preference? For operator plus, it's really just preference, and you'll hear people argue until they're blue in the face over which one's best. And honestly, they're all basically the same thing. Like they're like it's like, do you appreciate symmetry? Like, look, the two sides here are symmetrical. Like, who cares? Like, who cares? Like, the computer doesn't care. You might care, and you might have a preference, but the computer doesn't care. It's literally all the same. The only time when you're forced to use options 1 and 2 is when you cannot modify the left-hand side, right? This is a plus operator on the integer class. If you want to make your integer class have a plus operator for floats, then you can't use the member function version because you can't modify floats. You can't say float.operator plus. And so you have to use the friend global function. So the most common example of this is when must you use option 1 or 2, operator double right arrow, and operator double left arrow. Because if you were going to make it a member function, who's the left-hand side? If I was going to say like cout x, this is the operator double left arrow, right? Who's the left-hand side? And can we modify it? Because right here, let's make it simple and just get rid of the inline. You can see here, this is an operator. It's a binary operator, takes 2 parameters. Who's the left-hand side? Remember, whenever you take the member function route, the left-hand side is us. Left-hand side is the friends we made all along, okay? So, cout. And do we have the ability to modify the OStream class? No, we don't. And so we can't actually make a double left arrow operator that's a member function version because we cannot modify OStream or iStream. So you must do it this way. And I prefer the friend route. You might not, because computer science majors, am I right? Okay. All right. So friend OStream ampersand operator left arrow OStream by reference outs const integer reference right hand side outs double left arrow value equals RHS.val. And now, and then we return the string. Okay. And now this will work. Okay. So you can see we are now able to print a integer to the screen. Okay, capital I integer to the screen. Because we have taught C++. If you ever see an OStream on one side and a capital I integer on the other side, for operator double left arrow, this is how you do it. Okay? So what you guys are going to do in class today is you are going to make a bunch of overloads for a new class that's similar to this. That's cool. Thank you. I think it is cool. Let's see here, copy, you're going to do this, copy public / operator to your current directory. So everybody please type that. I'll even throw it up on Discord for you. And this is what we're going to be working on today. So You can say we're overloading you with all this C++ class stuff. Okay. So inside of here, you are going to see it's basically what I just typed up there, but there's something new. And the something new is a minimum and a maximum. So we're creating a class that will guarantee that, let's go up to here, will guarantee that the values are always going to be between 0 and 255. So for example, we might add two of them together, increase the value of 1 up to 100, increment it, so on and so forth. And if we ever exceed the maximum value, then it dies. Okay, in this case, there's actually maybe 3 different options, like what should we do? Exceed 255. Like one option is you can throw for an exception, which is what we're doing currently. One option is we could cap it at 255. It's called saturating arithmetic, which is very useful in image processing. In fact, these numbers here are for image processing, right? If you've got, I don't know, the amount of red at the current pixel and the amount of green at the current pixel, right? Then change word to red, dot, and you can be green. Right, and so this is how much red is at the current pixel, this is how much green is at the current pixel. If we put these minimums and maximums on it, if we ever try making it over 255, where colors would overflow, right, then it'll throw an exception currently. No, you're out of bounds. Okay, so we cap it. What else? What was the other thing I was thinking of? We can ignore the change. All right, so if you try moving up to 400, just throw the change away and ignore it. For image processing, we typically do this. For today's work, make it emissive. Yeah, right. So in Unreal Engine, you can actually go above maximum redness, and then it starts glowing this like radioactive red color. It's kind of cool. But for today, we're just going to throw. Okay. And if you guys remember how exceptions work, when you throw an exception, if you don't catch it, it kills the program, and it prints the message that you put in there. So I've got a toss function right now. Toss says, no, you're out of bounds, and it throws this. And if nobody catches it, it kills the program and prints, no, you're out of bounds. Not especially helpful, but amusing. So who wins? Useful or humor? Humor, yes, absolutely. So down here, though, our code is going to catch it. So we have wrapped this code in what's called a try-catch block. If any of these guys throw, it immediately stops execution of main, comes down to the catch block, prints out the error message, and then quits. Essentially the same as not catching it. So right now our code is adding together red and green. So red is going to go from 10 to 100 to 101. Oops, wrong one. See, it goes from 10 to 100 to 101. But if we were to, like, I don't know, add it a few more times like that, then you'll see it'll say, no, you're out of bounds. And it kills the program. So what your goal for today's lab is, and I'm going to give you like half an hour to do this, and I want you guys asking questions because a lot of students have a lot of questions. And so if you're not asking questions, I know you're just at Taco Bell or something. Okay. What I want you to do is make it possible for this, right? I'm calling plus plus on bounded integer. I know. Right when the pandemic started, you know, everyone was going online for the first time. I had a student, like, I'm calling on him. He's like, a Taco Bell. I was like, what's going on? All right. So what do you guys think the operator is called for plus plus? The plus plus operator. Taco Bell sounds nice right now. Got to set your standards higher, man. What do you think the operator is called for this game? Operator plus plus. Yeah, so it's going to be like this guy here. Okay. So you guys are going to need to write operator plus equals, operator minus, operator plus plus, double left arrow, double right arrow, that kind of stuff. This is what you're going to be working on today. But plus plus, one thing I want to mention with plus plus, because a lot of students are having trouble with it, they're like, well, what parameter does it take? It doesn't take any parameter, right? It's a unary operator. So if you do it as a member function, you just increment the value. That's it. So this is what you guys are going to be working on in lab time today. Okay? Somebody's blowing up my phone. Can't hide from the taco trucks, yeah. So you guys need to write operator minus. The code for operator plus is given to you. So you should be able to write operator minus by making very small changes to it. Operator plus equals, operator times and division should be very similar to operator plus. Plus equals, don't screenshot this, but basically, you have to update the value based on the other guy's value. So basically, have at it. Okay? I'm going to leave this up on the screen. I'm going to pause the stream over here for half an hour or so. Your next homework assignment is going to be doing operators. So you're going to be making your own imaginary numbers and complex numbers. So that's what you guys got coming up. So all this stuff's going to be very useful for you. So don't just go to Taco Bell. And in half an hour, I'm going to unpause the stream, take a look at your code, give some feedback, ask questions, and begin. So a question was like, what happens if you violate the class invariant, right? Like here in our constructor, we initialize it with a value of like 10, minimum value of 0, maximum value of 100. If it's within boundary, everything's fine. But if you initialize it with like a value of 1,000 from 0 to 100, that's out of bounds immediately. And so we call toss. And so anytime the invariant is violated, anytime we have broken our promise that the value must be between minimum and maximum inclusive, we call the toss function. And it throws the exception. And if you're doing this in a global function, you'll actually have to call like RHS.toss, because it's actually a member function of the bounded integer class. Okay, so the question, we got a question that was like, what is the difference between prefix and postfix operator plus plus? It's a little bit weird when it comes to overloading. I know what it means in practice. Yeah, if you do something like int operator plus plus with no parameters like that, where you return the value plus plus. We can't do that actually. Value plus plus. And then we have to check, right? Check to see if our invariant was violated. You guys have to do that. I made a function called check, and check would just check the bounds every time. And then every time I did something like this, I can just show you actually. Check. Anytime I find myself typing the same code over and over again, I make a function. There we go. And so instead of repeating myself over and over again, I can just call check every time. So increment val plus plus, check, and then return the value. Okay. So this is the prefix operator. The postfix operator plus plus, I actually don't remember how to do it off the top of my head. So, yeah, by default, when you do it like this, it's the prefix one. So, you can probably look it up, but the prefix one's the better one usually anyway, because you do a postfix one, it makes it temporary, and then returns the temporary, and then updates it afterwards, and it's kind of weird. The prefix one's just easier to work with in general. Yeah, I honestly don't remember off the top of my head. So, other questions? How do we approach double left arrow and double right arrow? I showed you an example earlier. You have sample code in your STF2 directory, And your SDF2 directory will show you how to read and write a point. And write a point to the screen, which is an X and a Y. Here, instead of X and Y, we've got val, min, and max. You should probably be able to copy, paste, and modify, which is the core skill of computer science, to make it work with the bounded integer class. The pattern is always the same: ostream operator, ostream reference, operator double left arrow, ostream reference outs, comma, da, 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 da. I have it memorized by heart because I've done it so many times. Most of you haven't, so just look at your SDF2 code, look at the point class, and copy and paste it out of there. And I say this with no irony. Like, you should get used to that, right? Like, you should have some existing code that kind of works and does what you want. You can kind of lean on in future assignments. Be like, okay, well, this one had X and Y, and this one has val and min and max, so I'll just change those things up a little bit, and there we go. So that's how I would do it. Do that until you're used to doing it. Yeah, like legitimately. Like, you just sort of, see how other people have done code, and because that's what I saw. Like, it passes a parameter and stores in a temporary pointer to this, returns a temporary after that. Yeah, the postfix++ is kind of annoying. It kind of is, and honestly, I was just not worried about it. For this assignment, just do the prefix one, honestly. But if you want to do the postfix one, I'm not going to stop. Okay. Any other questions? You guys got about 15 minutes left. I know you gotta have questions, because in the 12 o'clock session today, I was walking around nonstop, like asking, like people were like asking questions and stuff. So, so to get this clear, when we're changing a member variable within a member function, the member variable is implicit, meaning it doesn't need to be passed as a parameter. That is correct. So, like, if I were to make a function on here called foo, it's my default name when I don't have anything better, void foo, and it like prints the value to the screen or something. Note that I don't have to say like left-hand side dot val. If I have this, I could just say like integer dot foo. The left-hand side, when you do something like that, like if you did it like the plus operator with an implicit left-hand side with the member function version here, notice the left-hand side doesn't need to be passed in, because this is my value, right? When you call integer.foo, it's going to print integer my value, which is 10. Okay? So when you do it this way with the member function version, the left-hand side is implicit. And so you can just say val, and that's the left-hand side's val. And then you say the right-hand side dot get val, or you could say, since this is part of the class, you actually don't need to use get val. You just say val, like that. And that works fine. Okay. So what's the strength of a member function's right? The strength of being able to access to private member values. Anytime you're a member function, you're part of the class, and so you automatically have access to all the private member variables. That's nice. So does the friend global function, though. Both of those have access to the privates. The main benefit of the member function version is there's less typing, right? You don't have to say lhs.val, you can just say val. But then again, some people like that on the friend global version because they're symmetrical. Left-hand side dot val, right-hand side dot val, right? So, these two things are legitimately the same. This is one of them. You have to pass in the left-hand side. The other one you don't. It's less typing. If you want, you could call it this points to val. This is the first integer's value. If you want, it's no point. You can do it. Cool. Continue on. All right, welcome back, everyone. Let's take a look at these things here. Operator plus, that's the postfix, prefix, operator minus minus. Looks pretty solid. Looks very, very solid. Yeah. Cool. Well done. All right. Take two of these guys, grab their values, return the result, add them together, return the result. Plus equals. You need to remember your class invariant, right? So if you are increasing the value, you need to check to see if the new value is outside of the bounded range, right? Same thing for this one, and this one, this one, and this one. For the double right arrow, you want to read into val and min and max. And when you see out, you want to see out val and min and max as well. So if you are doing this as a member function, then you do not have to use the get val function. You can just use val, RHS.val for all these. Plus equals, again, you should, that needs to be plus equals, not equals plus. And you need to check also the, if it's out of bounds. That looks fine. Now, wait, what's going on here? The double right arrow should be a double left arrow. It's an O stream, right? Output stream goes this way, input stream goes this way. So, and you can't read into, well, okay, operator double left arrow can read out of a constant. So that's fine. Okay. You're still working on it? I got you. All right. Hockman. Same thing if you're doing a member function. I mean, you can do it that way. It's fine. But using just RHS.val is probably a little bit easier. Bounds checking. Looks good. Looks good. All right. All right. Hansen. Check. Looks good. Good. Yeah, we need the plus equals and stuff, but yeah, all that looks good. Okay. Didn't quite finish it. It's fine. Yeah, people in person didn't finish either on time. Plus equals and minus equals. It's check. That's not going to work, right? Because like, if we're at 100, the max, and we add 100 to it, your code is going to check to see if it works prior to it changing. And so you probably put it after, but that wouldn't work either because it's already returned. And that's why I had to split it into 3 different lines where you add it together, you check, and then you return the result. It's kind of annoying, but see, love you. A way to get around that would be to use set val for everything, right? So you can have a get val, you can have a set val. Getting like deja vu right now. And you can check there. And then instead of just saying val equals something, right? Like if we want to do the plus equals operator, right? Operator plus equals, then we could say set val, passing my val plus RHS val. And it's because we're const, right? Oh, yeah. Here's a question. Should the plus equals operator be const? Remember, the const here means the left-hand side is const. Can the left-hand side be const on a plus equals? When you say x plus equals y, can the x be const? And that's why we have to be, when we think about these things, never forget that, right? So you can get things off of a constant variable, but you can't set things off of a constant variable. So you always have to be careful that this is correct. And technically, that could be const as well. That could be const as well. You need to get into the habit of doing that because only constant methods can be called on constant variables. So now that works Plus plus, can plus plus be constant? What do you guys think? Yeah, we're modifying it. So if you use the set val function, then every time you change the value, it'll check it for you. So that's nice. And we could even have set val like return the value if we really wanted to. Then we can just return set val like that. And then we can just spit out all of our 4 versions: plus equals, minus equals, times equals, divided by equals. Easy. Okay. Y3Y, 3P, and we're going to go operator minus, star, division, and then for the double left arrow, double right arrow, it's O stream, ampersand, operator, double left arrow, O stream, reference LHS, and this can be a const bounded integer by reference right hand side, return LHS left arrow, val, val, min, min, max, RHS.max, and I forgot the friend here. And there we go. Okay, and so you might be asking, well, what's the correct way of couuting about an integer? And there isn't one. There's no correct, way of couuting something. You have to decide what it's going to look like. For homework assignment, it might very well have like, this is what the formatting needs to look like. But there's not like officially a proper way of doing this kind of stuff. So for our iStream operator, can't be a const because we're writing into it this time. And all of these are going to turn into these. It's way too many. And there you go. So that is basically our lab time for today. We have now made a class that can do lots of cool stuff. So we can have an integer and we can add them together. We can subtract them. We can multiply them. We can say integer plus equals integer 2. Let's see how integer. So now C++ knows how to print an integer to the screen, how to read it from the keyboard, how to do plus equals, minus equals, times equals, plus plus, all this kind of stuff on integers, right? Oh, not this one, right? I only did the prefix version here. And you can see everything. Oh, I forgot a space there. And so you can see, I can see out these things, I can see in them, add them, plus them, and it works for all intents and purposes like a normal integer, except if I ever try and push it outside of its bounds, if I ever YY, like this, it's going to go out of bounds and it'll throw. And so this kind of thing is actually really useful. It's being able to specify, constraints on things is actually a really nice thing to have. For your homework assignment, which is going to be due next Monday, you are going to basically implement imaginary numbers and complex numbers. So we talk more about that on Wednesday. For now, just get that little class program, class playground 2 assignment knocked out. It's pretty brief. Again, it's an opportunity for you to make up points you lost on STF2, so as to not drop the class, stuff like that. So don't let failure discourage you. Instead, failure should encourage you to work harder and ask for help, stuff like that. Okay. So, what do you guys think? Pretty cool, though, right? Multiply these things together and stuff. Java doesn't have this, by the way. Java erased operators from existence. So you get to write things that are just real smooth, real easy. It just lets your variables act like any other variable, and it's just nice. Now, some people go overboard when it comes to operators, which is why Java deleted them from existence. They would abuse them in all sorts of ugly ways, like database operators that would use plus equals for like inserting into the database and minus equals to delete things from the database, and they would represent all these database manipulations through algebra, and it was just like, what is going on here? Oh my gosh. So only use them when they make sense. Like if somebody were to understand just from looking at this code what it's doing, it's good, right? Like here, everybody understands. Everybody knows what it's doing, right? It's fine. But if you don't just use an operator because, like, you know, you want to practice it or something. I don't know. Like, yeah, job security, exactly. When I do a prefix plus plus, this means enter the username, right? And when I do a postfix plus plus, that means enter the password. And you could do that. You can do that if you hate your users. Cout. Toss. And so now every time you do a plus plus, oh shoot, we never got there. Whenever we do a plus plus, now it asks us for a password. Like you can do absolutely horrible stuff like that. So don't do that. That's bad. That's straight up job security code right there. Like you can do all sorts of like things that just make no sense whatsoever, that will cost you your sanity and maybe your job, except they can't fire you because nobody else knows what your code does. So don't do that. Just make it sense. Make it make sense. What does plus plus do? It should add 1 to something. If you're doing anything other than adding 1 to something, you're doing it wrong. You know what I mean? Okay. Rant off. Okay. That's it for today, guys. Stay on the lookout for the quiz. Be going up soon. And then Class Playground's due on Wednesday. You got your Zybooks coming up. And then imaginary homework, which is basically this, but for imaginary numbers, is going to be due next Monday. All right. See you guys next time.